Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to be painting our cubs using tempera cakes, water, and a paintbrush. We'll be adding a shiny glaze to our cubs when we're finished with our tempera paints. So even though they don't look shiny today, don't worry, they will when we're totally finished. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is start with a yellow base for my cub. So I'm gonna make sure to get my yellow paint nice and shiny. The bulk of my cub is going to be yellow. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with yellow. Your clay is porous, which means it's made of lots of tiny holes that love to absorb paint. That means that as soon as you paint your clay, it will absorb that paint right up. I'm making sure to leave the carvings that I created in my clay open here so that I can paint them with a different color later. If I do accidentally go over the spots that I've already carved, it's not a huge deal because yellow is such a light color, I can go back over it later. Because we're not putting these pots back in the kiln, I can paint on the bottom of my clay. My name is not on the bottom of my clay, but your name will be. Be really careful again not to go over any lines that I made. I'm gonna kind of go right around them. I think I might add some stripes to the tail when all is said and done here, because I think that'll look really nice to match the purple and green stripes on my cub's ears. Not his ears, his face. I think I'm gonna leave his eyes white on the inside, except for that little line in the middle. So I'm being really careful when I go around these shapes because I want to make sure that I leave those spaces open to be colored inside of. I think I'm doing a good job of being pretty neat. Since our clay is porous and absorbing the paint really fast, I don't have to worry too much about getting my hands super dirty. They might get a little bit of paint on them, but for the most part, that clay is gonna dry up the paint almost immediately as soon as it touches it. Oh, I'm missing a few spots on the tail here. You'll want to be gentle when it comes to the tail if yours is like mine. You can already see that I had some cracking before that I managed to fix when it was still a little bit wet, but you might have some points where it could have some tension. There were some cracks in the clay before I put them in the kiln, so some pieces I did have to fix, so you'll want to be extra careful just in case that was one of your pieces. You never know what could break if you're not too careful. All right. So my yellow base is just about finished. So now it's time for me to add some small details. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the purple and green stripes. Bart the cub has purple and green stripes on his head and on the sides of his face. So I'm gonna start with purple and green up top. Oop, I need a little more purple than that. I'll do one purple stripe in the middle. Now I'll do green next to it. Nope, I want it to be darker than that. All right, now I'll do green here, green here, purple here, and purple here. Cute. Next, I'm going to add black in the middle part of his eye. That's just what I'm gonna do, but you could choose another color. I'm being really careful during this part because I don't want it to spread out too far. I'm also gonna add a little black line right in this little carved part I did. You might notice that the black is kind of getting sucked up into that line that I carved. That's just because there's a hole there and it's kind of flowing into that line that I already made. So that's kind of cool. Kind of did it for me. So I think that looks really nice so far. I might even kind of outline my eye. Oop, it did it again. If I add a lot of water, it might do it again. Try it over here. Yep. Ta-da! Right. Now, some of that black kind of ran down around his face, so I am going to kind of spread out some more yellow here so he doesn't have black all the way around his face. Cute. Finally, I want to add some pink on his nose and on his ears, so I'm going to take some red and I'm actually going to mix it with white right on my palette. Started with some red over here. I'll rinse and scrub my brush, and then I'll get a little bit of white over here. Add it right in here. Probably not enough yet. Add some more. Oops, got a little black in there too. That looks good. That should be a nice pink for my ears. And for my nose, I'm gonna be really careful with the nose. You could even get a smaller brush if you're nervous, but I think I'll be okay. All right, and now I have my beautiful Alton Hall cub. How cute is that? I'm so excited to see how your cubs turn out today, friends. If you have some different ideas for how to decorate it, you are more than welcome to try them out. But this is how Bart typically looks. So these are the colors that you would typically use for your Alton Hall cub. Can't wait to see these when they are all glazed with our clear coats. Happy art making!